What's going on, Jeromes? We are back. Happy Thirsty Thursday. We're out here on the Daily Jeromes live stream, 11 a.m. Central Time, Monday through Thursday. Now, we're taking tomorrow off again because we're going to undisclosed location. In fact, we might just nix the Friday live stream until hunting season's over, but yeah, it is what it is. So we got lots to talk about today. The Vikings are back in the facility. They've had 0 positive tests reportedly, and that's all good news. And the Vikings are looking to save the season, even though they're only on 2 days of practice. But yeah, the Tennessee Titans is like, oh, Titans, we know that you brought this evil into the league, Ricky Bobby, and we understand that, we could reschedule your game to Monday or Tuesday. Oh, no, just take the week off. My God, like, honestly, the bending over backwards and the double standard that the league has brought to the Titans and the Vikings, it's really abominable, but it is what it is. So there you go. If you want to support the show, purplefdw.com/support. Join the Discord as well. Check it out, top left corner. We got 200 plus Jeromes just hanging out, talking ish all the time. It's a good time. So let's get into the Q&A. Oh, by the way, so this week's edition of the Hot Dish, which is our football themed cooking show where every single week we pick a dish inspired by the Vikings opponent. So this week, Houston brisket. So we got that brisket smoking right now. It's been on for math is my passion. It's been on for 6.5 hours. So we'll be probably another hour or two, get that nice bark on it, and then we'll wrap it up. We'll bring it on home, and it'll just be amazing. So look for that. That should be out today. I should be able to do that this afternoon. All right, so first question, Boomatic. It's officially Kirktober. Let's call it to hop on the turnaround ship, or you'll all be forgotten. Kirktoberfest is in full effect. Carson Harlow, would you want an offensive-minded coach or another defensive-minded? Offense. Especially, so you'll notice that they're really relaxing the holding rules. Now, I think that this is going to be part of a trend. They're really going to relax a lot of the calls that would favor the offense. So, yeah, absolutely offense. Andrew Anderson. Who's the best Vikings quarterback in franchise history? Tarkington over 50 years ago, is that concerned? I guess it probably is Tark. Went to all those Super Bowls. Yeah, and just can't get it right. But also remember, so the Chiefs, Joe Montana aside, like they struggled finding a quarterback for years and years and years. And then they took one who was not the first quarterback taken, who was not the number 1 overall pick, but they just hit it out of the park at 10 with Patrick Mahomes. But yeah. Next up is King Husky Turtle Shark Kool-Aid Man. If you weren't a Vikings fan, what team would you be a fan of? Well, I might have said the Titans before the shenanigans of this week. I need a team that will give me suffering. Like, it's really not fun just to hop on board of a bandwagon. So like, I'm a Seahawks fan. I mean, just like, remember when the Legion of Boom came up and, they won that Super Bowl, 1.5 Super Bowls, and then everyone was a Seahawks fan. Nah, screw that noise. No, I need some pain with my fandom. I need something to bitch about. I need a team where I like the team colors. I mean, it probably would have been the Titans, but no, not anymore. Carolina's a good one. Especially with Tony. Yeah, they're struggling without McCaffrey. Probably Carolina. I like the people in Carolina. You like the barbecue. You like the area. You like the scene. It's good. Next up is, or maybe the Browns. Because why the hell not? Giggity. Pulford Skull. You think it would be fair to make the Vikings-Texans game on Monday and a doubleheader since the Titans did this mess? Yes, it absolutely would be fair. And at minimum, the league should have moved the Vikings-Texans game to the late 3:30 time. But they didn't because it's the Vikings. Giggity goo. Justin Gritty Jefferson is just built different. He is, and he's a lot of fun. You just see the enthusiasm that the kid plays with. It's infectious, man. You love seeing it. Sam Mahana. Is that you, Rona? If you had Fields and Lance on the board, who you're taking and why, assuming we don't get Trevor? I guess it would depend on how Fields fares this season, where I think that Lance, just physical tools wise, has a higher ceiling, but of course, Fields doing it at the highest level, did at Georgia, now doing it at Ohio State, that does factor in. But I think that there are some questions about Fields' accuracy. Whereas with Lance, I mean, there's a lot more variables, but it is a bigger risk. It is a bigger reward. So if you're looking for a quarterback where say that you do think that you're maybe a couple years away, I'd say, well, like if you can compete right now, I think Fields probably has the higher floor. But Lance has the higher ceiling. Pulford Sculpt, Andy, I love your content. Getting up at 4:30 to work every morning. You're the first thing I turn on. I like being turned on at 4:30 in the morning. You think the Vikings watch your content and player profiles to learn about their players? I mean, it's not impossible. I mean, everyone's on YouTube. King Husky, Turtle Shark, Kool-Aid Man. Did you play football when you were little? If yes, what position did you play? I was a wide receiver cornerback. That was not good. If no, what position would you want to play? 3 tech. Quan Win. If it's up to you, how would you fix the Vikings mess? Make sure you look straight at the camera and say it loud so Zimmer can hear you. I would bench Drew Samia. I would play press man. I would blitz the living bejesus. Like, I understand the Vikings have been blitzing a lot lately, but still YOLO. Yo freaking low. What else do you have to lose? Besides more games. That's all. Andrew Anderson. Carson Wentz or Trey Lance? Trey Lance, because Carson Wentz, the horse is already out of the barn. I mean, injury prone, highly paid, screw him. Keenum or Cousins? Oh, man. If you had Keenum with Pat Shurmur, I would take Keenum because Shurmur just knew how to rein in Keenum and limit his mistakes and maximize his upside, which is the point of coaching, isn't it? Yeah. Actually, I want. Oh man. Oh yeah. Shurmur's in Denver. Man, that got dealt a bad hand. Hamler got dinged up. Judy's dinged up. Sutton is out for the season. Drew Lock went down. Oh man. Patty, come on. Zach Ballas stepped up your thumbnail game this week. Great job. Hey, thank you. Also, all right. So. I got to stop eating almonds before we start recording because I've noticed that, well, what happens is that you got this giant bowl of nuts, right? So we have an almond bowl and we have a pistachio bowl. It's always on the kitchen counter. Every time you walk by, you're just like, right? And sometimes I'll grab some before the live stream or before we record a video, and it's never good because even if you drink a little wah and try to rinse it out, I mean, there's always just nut particles all over the place. Particles of nuts. But watch a lot of Dateline, by the way. It's been another. Oh, by the way, so Dateline in 2020, when people get convicted of say murder, some of the cases, especially older cases, just the absolute razor dental floss thin, like Johan Santana ERA amount of evidence that they have, it's like it's insane. Like there'll be ones where so the person probably did it, but it's on the prosecution to show evidence and present a case to the jury that proves that they did it, not instead of, he probably did it, right? So for example, like there's a case, the wife kills the husband. There's no physical evidence that ties the wife to the murder, and there's just the scantest bit of circumstantial evidence, she didn't cry at the funeral. Oh, she got a life insurance payout. Oh, she must have done it. And then they convict her. It's like, what kind of bullcrap is that? Like, yeah, she probably did it. And maybe she did do it. She probably did it. But, I mean, the prosecution didn't prove it. And then the prosecution is just like a bunch of jabronis. Like, woo, high five. And yeah, we did it. Yeah, man, put another criminal behind bars. No, you didn't do your job. You got lucky. You got lucky that 12 idiots on the jury wanted to go home. And they didn't want to sit and talk about this stupid trial anymore. And it was done. Dateline, man. 2020 is great too. All right, next up is what the hell are we talking? Oh, this started out talking about almonds. Anyway, Miles, if they beat the Texans, why can't they beat Seattle? Damn straight. You point out that they have gaping holes on their O-line and their pass defense. Love a channel school from Denver. If Danielle Hunter gets back for Seattle, I think the Vikings do have a chance to get off the mat. So they get a win in Houston, and then all of a sudden, ooh, Ooh, I mean, that Seattle offensive line, you ain't scared, except for Dwayne Brown. Texans O-line, you ain't scared, except for Laramie Tunsil. And then you got the Falcons, who are just trash as well. Baby, you can get after this. You can absolutely get after this. Oakview. Should I start Justin Jefferson? By the way, I do have a bunch of comments saved, but when the Vikings were 0-3 about people wanting them to tank, and then once they hit 3-3, I'm ready to unleash them. Oakview, should I start Justin Jefferson in fantasy after that huge game? Yes. Also, just something to add to my latest comment on the last comment on the stream. Twins have been swept in 9 playoff series in a row and 18 straight. Is what it is. Muhammad, trade Thielen to the Ravens for a first. Lamar needs a possession receiver. 2 firsts, and then we'll talk. Archangel 01. With pho season in full swing, just wondering if you have pho broth recipes. Are you a purist, i.e. jalapenos, basil only, or sriracha and hoisin? So for making our broth, we're pretty traditional. It's ox or oxtail, or just get shank. Like oxtail can be hard to find unless you go to like a real butcher shop. I know that's like the genuine article, but we'll generally just get either like beef shank. Or when I happen to harvest a deer this year, we're gonna do some of that, like save the the bones and make ossobuco, as well as use it for stock. And then some allspice, bit of lemongrass, that's key, as well as a little bit of cinnamon, like a cinnamon stick in there. It's great. As far as like the accoutrement. So besides like the beef and noodles and stuff, I do like jalapenos. I do like Thai basil. Mint is really good too. Like some just really good fresh mints, phenomenal. I'm a big bean sprout in there kind of guy too. Yeah, and then not too much sriracha, no hoisin. Yeah, Landon Miller. My dad's B-Day is on Sunday, so I got him a Green Bay Packers tier mug from Teespring. Hey, awesome, thank you. I'll reveal it to him on Sunday. Number 2, why are the ref jabronis calling out these illegal contact penalties on corners? You should be able to play cornerback aggressively if you're going to play guys like Kenny Galladay or Devontae. I think it is that the league and the refs had to sit down and like, hey. So we're going to let Holden go. We're going to call a lot more defensive illegal contact and just jack up some of these points, because no preseason. We don't want sloppy 9-7 football out there. We don't want to look like the AAF. So I think that was a big part of it as well, because I mean, these high scoring games, it's great. It is entertaining. It's great for fantasy football. I think it keeps people's interest. And I do think that is a legit conspiracy. Or not really conspiracy theory. It's exactly what happened. Let us know where you're watching from. Give a couple shout outs. Charlie Boltman, who will be the Vikings' next offensive line coach? Clem Sullivan, Bill Brenda, Joe Staley, Mike Tice, and Hutch. Hell, I would bring Hutch back. Why not? It does seem like Hutch is trying to get into the GM game, though, so respect there. I mean, I was all for bringing Mike Tice back before, even though it's weird when you used to be a team's head coach and then you come back as an assistant. I think it's only happened twice before. So Dave Campo, I believe he was the head coach of the Cowboys after Barry Switzer. Then eventually he came back as like a defensive backs coach under Parcells. I believe that's right. And then Wade Phillips, who was a head coach of the Broncos for a number of years, and he came back as an assistant. Gary Kubak's defensive coordinator when they won the Super Bowl in 2015, which is just crazy. Hell yeah, Mike Tice is a great offensive line coach. I would bring him back in a heartbeat. Plus Tice loves the Twin Cities, St. Louis Park. Bunny's Bar and Grill is basically his home office. Getting after it, good times there. Bob to Bob. If Reef continues to play like he has the first 3 games, is there any chance he gets cut? We're talking about Reef has played really well. Yeah. Seth B. Herman, do you think it'll be a full-on youth movement if we are winless at the bye? I say get the young guys in there, get more experience for the year. It should be. I'm not sure if it will, because I don't really trust Zimmer to do that. Because, so 2016, week 17, against the Bears. Yeah, it was against the Bears. Actually, let's see if we get that. Yeah, it was 2016 because Rashad Hill, at the time was a UDFA out of Southern Miss. He was on the Jaguars practice squad. The Vikings poached him, and then we were like, oh, well, Rashad Hill could actually turn into something. But the Vikings, even though the season was lost, they never gave him the time of day, and they kept starting T.J. Clemmings at left tackle. And in the first half, T.J. Clemmings got hurt. He started the Rashad Hill only got in the game and played extremely well at left tackle for the second half of that game because TJ Clemmings got hurt. Not because it was a great coaching decision of, hey, let's start getting some experience and get some tape on these guys who could potentially be part of the future. Now, maybe Rashad Hill's a bad example because he's probably at his ceiling is a swing backup tackle at best. But, I mean, it just plays into, like, Zimmer's maximum conservativeness, where it's just like, well, we're trying to win a game today. And again, if the season is lost, play all the young guys as much as possible. Play James Lynch, play Wanham, play Ezra Cleveland, play all the rookies as much as you possibly can. Don't start Dakota Dozier again. Ezra Cleveland should be out there. Oli Udoh should find a way out there as well. Kyle Hinton should find his way out there. We're going to run 17 guards on offense. Seth V. Herman. That was the question. Robert Barweiler. If we are going 0-6 into the bye, will the Wolves entertain firing Zimmer? I would assume Kubiak would be interim for the season. I mean, it's not impossible. The Wolves have fired a head coach with 3 years remaining on his deal before him, Brad Childress, but I think Zimmer might get a little bit of a bye, although I do wonder if, in the terms of the contract, if there is a reduced buyout in exchange for extra years. Because I think Zimmer may take that deal. It's like, well, they're not going to fire me. I mean, we're going to win. It would be super interesting. Because I still have it on pretty good authority that if the Vikings didn't win the playoff game against the Saints, they were going to trade Zimmer to the Cowboys. That's why the Cowboys waited so long to fire Jason Garrett. I would assume Kubiak would be interim for the season. I don't think that one would make sense, since he obviously has head coaching experience before, but he didn't even want to be offensive coordinator. I think he has zero interest in becoming a head coach again, even in an interim capacity. I would give it to Andre Patterson. I would. I think Dre, if he wants to put his hat in the ring, become a potential head coach someday, I think he would deserve that shot. Game of Jones. What style quarterback do you think fits Minnesota best? One that can run for his life. I believe a player like Russell Wilson is perfect type. If you can't pick a type, what quarterback in the NFL now would fit Minnesota best? Side note, if we drafted Wilson, I 100% the Vikings have 2 Jerome parties by now. Well, yeah, except screw the Badgers. What if you can't pick a type, what quarterback in the NFL right now would fit Minnesota best? Mahomes. Basically, given the personnel and given the offensive line, just any quarterback that, like, you don't have to be a Lamar Jackson. You don't have to have that crazy mobility. You don't even have to have Russell Wilson or Josh Allen mobility either. Like Patrick Mahomes. So Patrick Mahomes is slow. Like but he can move because he has so much experience sliding in the pocket, stepping up, and doing things, because he would throw 70 times a game at Texas Tech. So you have all that experience built in, and nothing really phases him because the Chiefs' offensive line, it's good. It isn't always great, right? So, but he does have a ton of experience of just sidestepping, stepping up in the pocket, buying just a little extra time to make things happen, and that's all you need. I mean, because like Tom Brady is one of the slowest MFers in NFL history. Same thing with Peyton Manning, except they were extremely good at just shifting around and buying time and helping out their offensive line. Kirk Cousins ain't that. He ain't. Next up, Andy X. Will the Vikings turn things around the season? Yes. Landon Miller. Here's my Montclair footballer of the day, David Tyree. Hey, the pride of Syracuse. Born in New Jersey, 1-bedroom home, Montclair. Went to there. 3 Letterman High School. 6th-round pick by the Giants, 2007, helmet catch. I believe that was his last catch. Yeah, because then he had some issues, and then he retired, and then he got a job in the Giants front office. There we go, David Tyree. Game of Sal, do you think Zimmer's time in Minnesota is coming to an end soon? No. I think they'll pull out of this funk. I think Zimmer will buy himself some time, but yeah. Westworld. The player got cut for bringing a girl in Seahawks hotel didn't do nothing in comparison to Tennessee. Yeah, I mean, well, we covered this in the videos, but so the Titans, you knew that the Titans were already having a little bit of issues because they had, Isaiah Wilson, the rookie first round pick, out at a house party, and then you actually had a linebackers coach test positive on Saturday when he was at practice on Friday without a mask and all those things. And yes, we can go down the rabbit hole of, is COVID generally harmless, especially to young people? Yes. But are there rules and protocols that the league has to enforce so that you can actually play? Yes, as well. Plus, keeping the elderly and people with pre-existing medical conditions, like those are the most vulnerable demographics. Mike Zimmer is both. Gary Kubiak is both. And then Mike Vrabel, who was obviously in close proximity to his outside linebackers coach, as well as the nose tackle, as well as all the other guys and staff that they test positive after the game. I mean, obviously Mike Vrabel's in close proximity. And then he walks across the field and shakes Zimmer's hand. I mean, wouldn't there be a big kerfuffle, like say, God forbid, knock on wood, say Zimmer tested positive? I mean, that'd be a big deal because, again, for 99.99999% of us, if we got COVID, not a big deal. But for an old dude with medical issues like Zim, that's a big deal. It is a big deal. It is. Yeah. Next up, Patrick Harms. Are you not doing add-on questions anymore? I mainly just got kind of lazy because now we schedule the call-out for questions, but we can start working some in again. Violet Valkyrie Gophers football is back, and so is Bateman. But is Tanner Morgan's success due to his own abilities or Tyler Johnson or Rashad Bateman's talent? That's a classic chicken or the egg. So you do wonder, too, is like, look at guys like Tua. It's like, you had Henry Ruggs, first-round wide receiver. You had Jerry Jeudy, first-round wide receiver. You had Josh Jacobs, first-round running back. You have Waddle and Devonta Smith, who are going to be first-round wide receivers, and as well as you have phenomenal offensive line year after year after year. It's always a conundrum. It's like Ken Dorsey syndrome from that 2001 Canes team. It's like, yeah, you won. Yeah, you put up a lot of stats, but you're Ken Dorsey, right? But it is always a chicken or egg. Or maybe Tyler Johnson, Rashad Bateman were made because of Tanner Morgan. Probably not, but Westworld. Why do you think the defense struggles against no-names like Raymond, Mo Cox, and Devonta Adams? It's a good question. It's a good question. I don't know. Evan Cascanaway. Also, I see what you did there. Shout-outs. It's my bad. Zach Ball Skull from NoCo. What's up? Jason Sash, Skull from Mankato. Purple Rain, Wausau, Wisconsin. Wade Swander, Skull from Nebraska. Joe was Gent, Skull from Germany. What's going on? That's it. Yeah, there you go. Next up is Evan Cascanaway. How do you feel about Xavier Rhodes getting 2 picks last week? It's the Jets. Should we maybe have held on to him, especially with how poor the cornerbacks are playing? Also, do you still see Afadi as a future starter after the first couple weeks? Afadi really stepped up week 3 because I believe he only had 1 pressure through the first 2 weeks. He had 5 against the Titans, just never got home. But yeah, he's actually leading the team in pressures. Yannick, of course, has got the 2 strip sacks. But yeah, Afadi's turned himself around, which is great. And he'll have to because I think that the Vikings will deploy Yannick quite a bit on the left side of the defense against Titus Howard, their right tackle of the Texans. And then I think Afadi's going to get all the Laramie Tunsil, which is less than ideal. But yeah, Xavier and Zim, they were never, ever getting back together. I think Xavier was sort of pissed off at Zimmer. I think Zimmer was pissed off at Rhodes. I think there was a divorce coming up. But, the Vikings going to take their lumps with these young cornerbacks. Xavier, healthy for now, and also got to play the Jets, so bully on him. Did only have 1 target thrown his way. Broke it up against the Vikings, so is what it is. Pulford Skull. What do you think this team would look like if the Wolves can Zimmer following Sunday's game? That's unlikely, but Kubiak in charge? Nah, I think it would be Patterson. Kirk is going to Kirk. I mean, yeah, this could be a crazy-ass spot where Zimmer fired with 3 years left on his deal, just like Brad Childress. And then the defensive coordinator, Leslie Frazier, steps in, interim head coach, gets the job. Andre Patterson, defensive coordinator, interim head coach, comes in and gets the job. 2 defensive coordinators, both quiet guys who are great defensive minds that the locker room really likes. And then they rally, win a couple games. Hell, it's 2010 all over again. Shoot. Brett G. Well, I guess Zimmer would have to cut someone really important. So like Zimmer cut Thielen. Or so, nah, that won't happen. Brad G. Cousins approaches you and he says he will insure the tank in exchange for guaranteeing his 2022 salary. What do you say? No. F yourself. Andrew Anderson. I don't see Trey Lance or Mel or Todd on Mel or Todd's top 10 mock board. Do you think the Vikings will actually draft him? I actually think that Trey Lance has been in the teens for like a lot of mock drafts, but once draft season starts, if they have the combine, have the pro days, I think Lance will put on a show. I think he may skyrocket a little bit. Giga Goo, Greenlee, Colorado. Look it up. Greeley. Was there a murder? There's been another murder. Okay. Next up. Robert Baudette, what is more depressing, Twins losing 18 straight playoff games or the Vikings right now? I got to say the Twins, man, because that is tough to do because what is that? Like 7, 8, 9 appearances in the playoffs? Because what was the anecdote that I heard? It was every single team in baseball has won a playoff game since this Twins a playoff losing streak started, except for the Mariners, except they haven't been to playoffs since 2001. So every single team that's actually been to the dance has won how do you not win a game? Like, we're not even talking about series here. We're talking about a baseball game. Like, how hard can it be to win a baseball game? Like, during a regular normal season, you have 162 of them. You win a couple of them by accident. It's just crazy. Charlie Boltman, if Zimmer's fired mid-season, Andre Patterson will become head coach, and then Adam Zimmer is gone. Kubiak's can't do mid-season. Would Kubiak leave altogether? I do wonder who Andre Patterson would bring as head coach or offense coordinator, because I think if Kubiak steps away or is not retained, I think that's it for Clint and Dennison and Perriani. And frankly, Dennison deserves to be fired. Like, it's just not been great. It's tough. What can you do? All right, so let's. Is there any news? So Vikings back at TCO. I'm sure you probably saw that the Titans and Steelers game got canceled altogether. I mean, what kind of gangster poop is that? So you got the Titans, who are to blame for this COVID outbreak. They involved the Vikings through no fault of the Vikings. And also, remember, the Vikings had that scare early where, I mean, their virus control officer, Eric Sugarman, tested positive. And also they had a bunch of players on the COVID reserve list, but they pulled out of it. Protocols in place. They're doing everything correctly. Then the Titans were like, hey, we fully understand that we had a bunch of players and coaches that are around the offense, outside linebackers coach who tested positive on Saturday, but we're still going to play you because you're the Vikings and we're still going to beat you. No problem. And now, like, they screwed over the Steelers, who were already in the middle of preparing. So there goes the Steelers bye week. I believe it was week 8. They're going to do like a round robin. I think it'll be Steelers and Ravens on week 7 now. And then Steelers and Titans on week 8, I believe, is going to be the Yankee swap. But yeah, like, the Titans are essentially rewarded because they're going to be down to practice day. And then they're talking about, we'll just move the game to Monday. Maybe we'll move the game to Tuesday. We'll just cancel the game altogether. You guys can have your bye week now. It's just so stupid. And yeah, the Vikings get 0 concessions, nothing. Even though they're not at fault at all for what happened with the Titans, the Vikings did everything the right way. Everyone tested negative again today. TCO Performance Center Bar and Grill is finally open. They're going to only have 2 days of practice, and they have to travel to Houston, and the game time is not shifted at all. So the Vikings absolutely got fisted without any sort of lubricant, just like straight. And also, yeah, I know the Vikings fans are kind of like whatever because they're 0-3. But imagine if the Vikings were 3-0, 2-1. I don't think the league would have a different decision. I don't, because they just like screwing over the Vikings. As I burp and die. Hopefully not from the Rona. Yeah, but is what it is. I do have high hopes for the Houston game, though. I mean, the winner gets a limp on with their season. And could this be just an absolutely stupid spot where the Vikings get it done in Houston, get a pass rush, that secondary looks better, Deshaun Watson under duress? and then Dalvin runs buck wild. And remember, the Titans are 32nd in the league in rushing yards allowed, as well as they give up 5.2 yards per carry. I think this might be a great Adam Thielen game because they'll probably shift a lot of attention to, number 18 can catch too. All of a sudden, number 19 goes off. Bradley Roby and Vernon Hargreaves are terrible corners. Justin Reed and Eric Murray, the former Gopher, are pretty okay safeties. But as long as the Vikings take care of J.J. Watt and Charles Omenihu, there's not really much else that scares you. So I think the Vikings offense will put up points again. Of course, this is the Kubiak revenge game, which is kind of hilarious. And then, if the Vikings can get a couple of stops on defense, all of a sudden, you have a nice little win. You pair that with how you played against the Titans for most of the game, the first 3 quarters. And then all of a sudden, you got some momentum. And then Sunday Night Football against the Seattle Seahawks, maybe Danielle Hunter comes back. Oh, what's going on? And Seattle will probably be 4-0 at that time. Do not care in the slightest. And the Vikings go up there and shock the world. All of a sudden, they're 2-3. You get the hapless Atlanta Falcons, who could be 0-5 by that time, roll into US Bank Stadium. You get to 3-3 at the bye. You're feeling pretty damn good. And also at the start of the season, if you would have said 3-3 by the bye, you would take that. You would. And also, it's even better that the Vikings are getting healthier as well as they do have momentum on their side, as opposed to 3-3. Same record, but starting out 0-3 and then ending up 3-3, as opposed to starting out 3-0, then ending up 3-3. Completely different thing, even though it's the same record, right? And then week 8 after the bye, you get a full extra week to prepare for the stupid Packers at Lambeau Field. Bring that ish on, and maybe the Zimmer defense will actually get right. Shades to what happened in 2018, where that defense was shredded for the first 4 to 5 weeks of the season. Remember that Thursday night game against the Rams when the Vikings gave up 9,000 yards of offense? Yeah, that'd be a record or something. And then they got things together, and then they actually ended up. Actually, how'd they end up? Let's see here. All right, so the Vikings ended up 9th in points and 4th in yards. And yeah, this is after just an absolute train wreck. So they gave up 480 yards in the Green Bay tie, 446 and 38 points in the Rams game. And then they locked down. They did the rest of the way. That Zimmer defense got things together. Apparently he knows a thing or two about defense. So why can't this year be similar to that year, except actually make the playoffs instead of 8-7-1 not getting it done? How do you lose to the Bears? How do you lose in that spot? Remember, that was the game on the sidelines where Thielen was yelling at Cousins. Rightfully so, by the way. So, I believe, you believe, we believe. I think the Vikings can actually get this thing done, get off the mat. And if not, all right, then we could start about the tank and stuff. So, that is it. That's the live stream for today. I have to go check that brisket. Sexy ass time here. It also, it's going to be a little bit wonky because it's like rainy and cold here in Minnesota, but again, nothing can be perfect, but we do what we can. So thank you for coming along. Again, no live stream tomorrow because I'm headed off to an undisclosed location. I'll be back Sunday for the game. Skull Vikings, all that stuff. Doo-dah. Skull, production value.